Sonic Channel Podcast.
Hey fans, welcome to SCPCZ, Sonic Channel Podcast Zone. This is Michael Hunter.
Hey guys, I'm Matt, the owner of TailsChannel.
Hi, I'm Eddie Lebron. I am the director of the Sonic fan film and one of the main people from Blue Core Studios.
Nice, thank you all for being here, and yes, you all are probably wondering why Matt is here when I said that Tim was going to be in like every episode. Well, we've kind of changed things up a bit, and we're going to like kind of rotate between different people, like probably Matt, Caden Red Pearl, my brother, and Tim Brown. So yes, that'll kind of mix things up a bit. So how are you guys doing? Like, what have you all been up to? Any new projects or anything? How's life?
Well, I just finished uploading a video of me and Mike Pollock playing Sonic 3 and Knuckles, the voice of Eggman. That was pretty cool. And I've been relaxing, I guess.
Nice. And what about you, Eddie?
Working as usual, working on the fan film and doubling as a working cinematographer out there in the field. So, keeping busy.
Nice. So, yes, what was I supposed to talk about? Oh yeah, TailsChannel. TailsChannel, if you all have not seen that yet, this is the channel that Matt here runs, and he uploads a bunch of videos of playthroughs of classic Sonic games. It's kind of like what I do with Sonic's channel, but it's basically for classic Sonic games. Why don't you tell everyone about what you do, Matt?
Alright, so basically, it's just what Michael does, just my style. I just play different classic Sonic games. Right now I'm playing Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and later I'm thinking of either playing Sonic CD with Sonic or Sonic 2, so you guys should check that out. I even did, like I said before, a part with Mike Pollock, the voice of Dr. Eggman, and Eddie Lebron, which is right here, right now, and Kavander Miney 456, Lefty Heat, my good friend Angelo, and Michael. So you guys should check that out, and I would love if you just watch my videos.
Yes, support Matt, because he's really cool. He's actually one of my longest supporters, and I actually started TailsChannel forever ago and never did anything with it. It kind of just died out, so I saw how loyal of a supporter Matt was. He's been watching my stuff like ever since I first started Sonic's channel, and he's just always been there, so I just wanted to give him a little present, I guess, and I gave him TailsChannel. So he's doing a very good job with it, and I'm definitely glad I gave it to him.
Well, thanks. It's been an honor.
You're welcome. But yes, also there is a somewhat of a new Sonic fan film teaser trailer out thing. So Eddie, would you care to tell us a little about what we'll see in that trailer?
Oh, you mean the third trailer that was released, or you mean the video I put up like 2 days ago?
2 days ago, of the Sonic fan film?
Well, I mean, the last trailer we released was about 3 weeks ago. It's essentially our official final trailer before the release. We might release a release date trailer, which would be essentially a condensed version, but 2 weeks ago we released a trailer with a bunch of footage, and 2 days ago I released kind of a professional reel for myself, and I incorporated like two not unused, but unseen shots from the movie in there. So between those two, there's finally some live action footage from the movie that's out there until the movie is done.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have the link in the description for you all to check it out, because he also has Jalil White. For those of you who do not know, the original voice of Sonic that was in the Sonic cartoons is going to be voicing Sonic in the Sonic fan film, so that's going to be really awesome. So check that out, the link is in the description. And on to some more Spotlight news. Phantasy Star Online 2 has a Western release. What do you guys think of that?
Well, I love Phantasy Star. It's a great series, great game, and I just can't wait to get it. It's gonna be
I'm
great.
definitely very appreciative of the Phantasy Star series. It's one of those series that I really, really wish I can get around to playing more of. I would almost say a majority of my gamer friends, if not all, have played it but me, which is kind of a downer. So, I mean, now this, with a resurgence in certain franchises and this game, maybe it'll probably motivate me to see what all the hype is about.
Yeah, I actually never played the original Phantasy Star. I could never get my Dreamcast online when I had it years ago, and plus, this might also have to do something about it, since I didn't even know what the game was back then. I found out about the game much later, and I saw that it looked like a pretty cool game, but I just never really got a chance to play it. So I don't really have very many thoughts on it, but it does look cool, and I heard that it's going to also release on the PlayStation Vita, which also looks pretty cool. So yeah, on to the next thing. There is a trailer for Sonic After the Sequel. There's a brand new trailer that came out a few days ago, and it looks really awesome. It has all kinds of levels in it. I don't even know how many levels it's supposed to have, but when you look at the trailer, it just looks really massive, and there's so much different stuff that they put in there. They obviously put a lot of work into it, and there's a lot of very creative things. What are you guys' thoughts on that awesome trailer?
Well, I played Sonic before the sequel. That was a great game. We used to play it in school while nobody was watching. So that was a great game. And now that I look at this trailer, I cannot wait for Sonic After the Sequel, because I saw it has a little bit of everything. A little bit of like Kirby action, a little bit of, just new atmosphere, new stages, new levels, and I can't wait to see what Lake Pepper does with it.
Oh yeah, I think it looks very impressive. It kind of gives me the vibe of, I guess, a later DS release, which is, a very good thing. It looks very polished, very clean, very complex. I support anything that kind of goes back to traditional sprite usage. I was very unfamiliar with this until very, very recently, and I'm pretty impressed. It's kind of disheartening, since you kind of wish Sega would do more kind of releases like this, or you would hope that they would, do some kind of iteration of Sonic 4 in this type of fashion, but I guess that's why there are fan games, so that way we'll never, lose sight of what really makes an old school Sonic game work.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Sonic fan games that seem to capture the physics of the original Sonic games a lot more than Sega actually has been. And I apologize to anyone at Sega who might be watching, but that's how I feel. But yeah, that game looks really awesome, and in the description he says that he plans on releasing a demo at Sage, so hopefully that ends up happening. And yeah, definitely check that out. The link to that is also going to be in the description to look at that trailer, because it looks really cool, and I'm definitely going to be following this project. So on to the next segment, random Sonic game. Are y'all ready to talk about a completely random Sonic game that
Sure.
I have no idea what it's going to be? But I have a randomizer, and I'm going to select a completely random Sonic game. I have like a list of every Sonic game ever. So here we go. Let's see what it comes up with. Sonic Battle.
Yes.
That game was really cool. I would love to see them make another one, like on a current, make a console version that has a proper multiplayer mode, other than just linking up the systems. I would love to see a console version of this game. This is one of my favorite Game Boy Advance Sonic games. What do you guys think of it? This game here today.
I think I've only played it once, since I'm kind of, it's just, my favorite format of a Sonic game is kind of just the story arc type of Sonic game, so I never really get around to kind of playing games like Sonic Battle, which I've heard was rather fun, and I did play once or twice in the past, and I liked it. The good thing about fighting games and, various games in which it's kind of, self-contained and just, versus, is it's always good for people who usually want to play a quick fix game, which is essentially just killing a moment's time rather than investing yourself in hours and hours of gameplay. Unfortunately, if I had to pick a fighting game, I mean, I'm more of a Sonic the Fighter game type guy, because I'm old school like that, and I kind of like how cruddy that game is. But I'm pretty sure you guys probably have more in-depth experiences with Sonic Battle than I do.
Yeah, I used to play that game a lot. I don't remember if I actually owned the game at one point or not, but I remember I was borrowing it for a really long time, and I ended up customizing Emerl like crazy. That was the awesome thing about the game, was that you could take Emerl and like customize him completely, give him whatever moves you wanted. That was very unique, and more games should actually do stuff like that. What do you think of it, Matt?
Well, I used to own Sonic Battle, so I know everything about it. I love how the characters had, different storylines. Like, it kind of had 3D in Game Boy Advance, like kind of advance-ish to 3D, kind of. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but like when you did the moves, they kind of went into front, back. I don't know, I just like that. And then, same thing you said with Emerald? I don't know how you say his name. But I love customizing. Yeah, I love customizing him like crazy with the Chaos cards, I think they're called. And he was just a godly character. He was awesome.
Oh, godly? I don't know. Are you like putting him up a little too high, don't you think?
I don't know. When you give him the right cards, he can beat everyone.
He does have that crazy move, though, that he has those combo cards where you just push one button and he takes the person out with just one combo. It's ridiculous. But, yeah, I really love that game, and I would love it if they made a new one. And I hope Sega doesn't forget about that franchise and actually do something else with it, because I also like the 3D type environment where you can just go in all different directions and fight, kind of like Power Stone somewhat. But yes, on to the next segment. We have favorite favorite Sega Genesis game. What do you guys like about the Sega Genesis games?
Well,
what is your favorite game?
First of all, you could go first, Eddie.
Okay, I guess. Well, the way I would phrase this, a shorter list would be what I don't like about the Sega Genesis.
What?
I prefer this. Well, it's a shorter list because I like everything about the Sega Genesis. I can, spend a whole day making a whole list of what I like, and my list for what I don't like is non-existent. So I wouldn't have to spend all day talking about it. But I don't know. I've always preferred it over to Super Nintendo. Genesis was just kind of more of my unit. It was, from the design of the machine itself, it's more adult in my mind. When I was younger, more gritty, more edgy. It had Sonic 3 and Knuckles is my favorite game of all time, so by default that's the system I go with. I remember a lot of games, I think some of them were Genesis exclusives, like Dynamite Heady. I was so obsessed with Dynamite Headdy when I was younger, and I think that was a Genesis exclusive. And if it isn't, I don't care, because that's the system I played it on.
Yeah, it's an exclusive.
I loved the Genesis version of RoboCop vs. Terminator, another one of my favorite Genesis games, because I like RoboCop and Terminator. I don't know, I could be here all day talking about the Genesis. Like, it's just kind of sad that after, you know, you had the Master System and then they upped the ante with Genesis, and then they kind of hit their, you know, they kind of went stagnant for a bit with the Sega Saturn, mainly because it was handled better in Japan, so that was a much better success in Japan than here. And then the Dreamcast, which I thought would bring Sega to a whole new level, and it kind of not. So I kind of feel that the last pinnacle of Sega as a console entity was the Genesis, so whenever someone says Sega, I think of that over the Dreamcast or any other console.
Yeah, and one of my favorite games on the Sega Genesis was Gunstar Heroes. That game was really awesome, and then they eventually made a sequel of it on the Game Boy Advance called Gunstar Superheroes, and they changed some of my favorite things about the game. Red was no longer a boy, he was like a girl for some strange reason, and you couldn't combine the weapons anymore. They were preset, and that was one of the things that really made the game unique. And you couldn't throw your opponents anymore. Like, throwing the characters, that was very different for a game like that, and it was also very fun. I remember me and my brother, actually we even do this today, me and my brother will find an enemy that throws bombs, and we'll just like throw it back at them, or we'll just take the enemy and just play catch with them. Like, I'll be on one side, and then my brother will be on the other side, and he'll throw the enemy, and then I'll jump up, catch him, and throw him back, and we'll just play catch. It's pretty hilarious. But, yeah, that game was really awesome, and I would love to see them continue the series properly, and just keep on making new games of it, because you can easily make more games of Gunstar Heroes, and I don't know why it lasted such a short time. Only like 2 games, pretty much. So what do you, oh yeah, also Sonic 3 and Knuckles, that's pretty much my favorite Sega Genesis game of all time. Actually, one of my favorite games, period, of all time. When that game came out, it was basically the definition of cool for a game. So what do you guys think of, or what do you think, Matt? What is your favorite Sega Genesis game?
Oh, well, I actually didn't grow up with the Genesis. I'm only like 15 years old.
Gosh.
But I know. But I love the Genesis games. I love, you know, Sonic and Moonwalker and all those things. I really grew up with Sonic, kind of, so I only usually play the Sonic ones. And, of course, my definite favorite is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Because, yeah, and I love just Let's playing the classic games because they're awesome. So yeah, just love the Genesis.
So basically, Sonic 3 and Knuckles beats everything. Yeah, that was such a cool thing to be able to combine 2 games in one to make a huge game like that. And adding the Super Emeralds and the extra playable character, which is Knuckles, or Tails, depending on what part of the game you play. And like, there was just so much that game had going for it. And in Sonic 4, I really think that they should have just taken everything that was good about those. I said this in my review, that they should have taken everything that was great about Sonic 3 and Knuckles and just add to it, and that would have pretty much satisfied everybody with Sonic 4 if they had gone that route. But yeah, so let's move on to the next segment, which is games that need to be made again. So what do you guys think that needs to be made, whether it's a sequel or a reboot of something? What kind of games would you like to see made?
I have a few, if you don't mind. Alright. So first of all, Super Mario Sunshine 2. That would be great. Yeah. And then, let's see, maybe a Genesis-style Sonic game that's after Sonic 3, that's not Sonic 4. I don't know. Even though Sonic 4 was released, it wasn't Genesis-y enough to me. I just want to see what Sega can do now with the Genesis game. Also, I want to see another Jet Set Radio, because those are amazing.
Yeah.
And that's it for me.
Off the top of my head, I would say Mega Man Legends 3 because the ending to 2 was kind of just... It was definitely leading into a sequel that would tie up all the loose ends, and it's been, yes, a decade since Mega Man Legends 2, and Mega Man Legends 1 and 2 were fantastic games. It was... I think it was Mega Man's first, jump into full 3D environments and the usage of, graphical capabilities at the time, right after, I think it was Mega Man 8, and then you had the X series, and this was the first jump to 3D, and it's a shame that they could never tie up the trilogy, since I always felt the first 2 games were just so fantastic. And Shenmue 3, or at least whatever will take to tie up that story as well. The types of games I want aren't really games that are self-contained. I kind of want games that will finish the stories that they started so many years ago, because I'm really, really not a fan of loose ends, both in video games and movies, and any way to kind of correct those types of situations makes me happy as a fan.
Well, they did announce Mega Man Legends 3 on the 3DS, but yeah, we all know what happened to that.
Yeah. They've announced that so many times. It's kind of like, I almost feel like it's the Ghostbusters 3 of video games. It's always a rumor.
Yeah, Mega Man Legends 3 was actually looking very cool. I never grew up playing the original Mega Man Legends games, but I was definitely going to get Mega Man Legends 3, but yeah, that kind of didn't happen. So, in that support petition type group on Facebook, the 100,000 fans strong for Mega Man Legends 3, they reached their goal, but Capcom, it looks like they still aren't doing anything, so that's definitely a bummer. But, oh yeah, I didn't say the game I would like to see. Now, I've had this idea for a while. What if they took the Hedgehog engine that was used in Sonic Generations and threw in a bunch of racers, not driving, but running, kind of like a sequel to Sonic R, and, okay, just picture this. Sonic Hedgehog engine with a bunch of other characters racing and having the boost ability and all that stuff in a brand new racing game. Because the Hedgehog engine that was used in Sonic Generations and Sonic Unleashed would actually be perfect for a racing game. And if they did that and gave it online play, that would be an extremely fun Sonic R type game. And it would definitely differ from the original, since there were so many mixed feelings about the original Sonic R. If they were to make a sequel and to do it in that way, then I think that it could be a really good success.
I agree. I think Sonic R was, this goes whole back to some of the things that the Sega Saturn did wrong. It was a great concept. I kind of just wish it was executed better, and if it was executed today, I'm pretty sure it would kind of fix every known issue that made the game kind of unplayable. The concept and the music was great, but if you can't control the game, what's the point? And also, Sonic running like 10 miles an hour isn't really that exhilarating, so if you were to incorporate the newer engines, I think that game would be, with the right environments, I think that game would be very, very successful and lucrative for Sega.
Especially if they do a lot less, actually probably no side-scrolling sections for a game like that would probably do better, even though the side-scrolling sections are okay in Sonic Generations, but I think for the 2D sections it should stay 2D, and for the 3D sections it should stay 3D, because the 3D sections are actually very exciting. But Yes. Now moving on to a fan question we got on Facebook. They would like to know from Carvin K. Davidson. He would like to know, what is our favorite Sonic boss?
Ooh, that's a good one. I love Doomsday Zone boss because that's just my favorite out of any game ever. Yeah, just
Definitely.
Doomsday boss.
It's very hard to say. I get in terms of a character, even if the boss battle wasn't necessarily a boss battle. I mean, I guess Metal Sonic from Sonic CD, even though you don't technically face him, you kind of race him. I'm a huge fan of Metal Sonic, so I'm a little biased there. It's very hard to say. I kind of have to default on that as my choice, even though I don't think it's technically a boss battle, which I guess is kind of cheating. But
It's a speed battle.
yeah. But then in that case, if I had to pick a boss battle I really, really liked, it would be, I guess, final stage of Sonic 2, mainly because out of all the boss battles, that's the one I had the hardest time beating, and it took me a few years to kind of understand how to go about beating him. And also, you had the earlier iteration of Metal Sonic in there, technically. Silver Sonic was his name? Yeah. But I always called him Metal Sonic, even if he was Mecha Sonic, I didn't care, I always called him Metal Sonic. So that was kind of the best of both worlds. I got my Metal iteration of Sonic, and I went into probably my favorite Robotnik boss droid. Essentially, it was just a giant version of Robotnik that kind of stepped around, which I liked.
Yeah, I actually have like 4 favorites. It's hard for me to just pick one. But one is, like you said, Matt, the Doomsday Zone. That one was really fun.
Yeah.
And also music as well. And there's also the Egg Dragoon that was in Sonic Unleashed, and then they brought it back in Sonic Generations. Mainly because of the design of it. They put a lot of work into it and put a lot of detail into it, and they made a very good-looking mech there. And also, I really enjoyed fighting the Metal Overlord in Sonic Heroes. That one was really fun. And I'd have to say my other favorite would be Mecha Sonic in Sonic and Knuckles. That was a really fun battle, especially chasing him down as he goes to the Master Emerald and transforms into Super Mega Sonic. In my opinion, the design of Mecha Sonic has always been a lot cooler than Metal Sonic.
I
And
agree
I wish
with
that
that.
they would give him a more major role in the games and just keep bringing him back like they do with Metal Sonic. So I kind of don't know why they kind of just dropped him like that.
I feel Mecha Sonic has more capabilities than Metal, just mainly because it looks like he can do a lot more and move a lot more with his body. Metal Sonic seems very, very limited in what he can do. I think Mecha could probably tear him in half.
I don't know, Metal Sonic did turn into the Metal Overlord, and he knew how to copy lifeform data and stuff like that. So I don't know, Metal Sonic is pretty powerful as well.
But then, what if there was a Mecha Overlord? How would that go about?
That would be scary. That would be really cool though if they were to do that.
End of the world right there.
Pretty much. But yeah, I guess that's about it for all the segments. We talked about everything, so oh yes, if you all want to submit a fan question for us to answer for another podcast, just go to Sonic's channel Facebook page, which is in the description, and like the page and either comment your question or PM it to Sonic's channel, and we might answer your question for the next podcast. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us and doing this podcast with me. Really appreciate it, and especially Eddie, because this was kind of like super late notice, but he agreed to do it anyway, so he's awesome for that.
No problem.
And yeah, that's about it. So y'all would like anything y'all would like to say before we close out?
Sure. Check out my channel. As I said again, I'm doing classic Sonic games featuring special guests like Mike Bullock and Eddie and Michael. So yeah, if you check out my page. And also, I would like to thank all my fans for giving me 2,100 subscribers. That's a great honor. And yeah.
And Sonic Fan Film, you know the drill. That's how we roll. Yay. And thanks for having me. I don't know, I keep plugging the movie so many times, it's kind of hard to repeat myself. SonicFanFilm.com, YouTube.com/Bluecore Studios. Check it out. It's awesome. It's boss. It's awesome and boss.
You're putting a ton of work into it, so plug it all you want, because people need to know about it and look at it, because it's awesome.
Plug.
Especially, you got Jaleel freaking White in there.
True, very true.
But yes, thank you all for watching, and I hope you all look forward to more. And this is Michael Hunter.
This is Matt.
This is Eddie Lebron.
And I guess we'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye.
Bye. Dun 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 dun.